welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
It's been 2 weeks, right? Sorry.
Contrary to rumors, we're still alive.
Yeah.
We're still here.
We didn't give up podcasting.
And then just call it quits because I don't know why, but because it's important to you. So we're here. So
we heard the public outcry.
We did.
We came out of retirement. With 2 weeks of retirement, we're back.
So yeah, we were off 2 weeks. Sorry about that. I was traveling, and then 2 weeks ago or whenever it was, and then Barry was traveling last week. So
yes,
sorry about that. But
Dave was having fun and I was not. But
yeah. We'll get
so be it.
Yeah, we'll get into a little bit of that because there's some connective stuff that I did. I don't go on a trip that I don't try to connect some things to. And this was the first trip that I didn't have to go to a Walmart and get an extra bag. And since I was in England, there were no Walmarts anyway. I'm always bringing my fold-up extra bag in my luggage.
Yeah, well, we have not we do this all the time. We kind of try not to talk about fun stuff until we get back on the show. So we have no idea what your experience was and what, if anything, you might have brought home. So
yes,
we'll hear about it same time as all of you.
Yeah, and well, I do not talk about traveling when I'm away from my house like you do sometimes. Barry's like, I'm at the airport. I'm like, I know you were the only one traveling. So
I was the only one traveling. My house was full of people.
So no social media, and you got to tell your 21-year-old, hey, no social media. We're in a foreign country.
No, I was talking more about the fact that you you didn't really text us like, hey, look what I bought while I was in this place.
Oh, didn't I? Oh, no. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
you told us places.
I did. I was texting you from there.
Vaguely,
a couple places,
but he would give us. You'd make sure he had left the place by the time he told us.
Well, I trust you guys mostly. Anyway,
we couldn't target him with drones or something.
Exactly. I'll fill you in a little bit. But so here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do some random. We're going to do what's in the box. I'm committing to that because we're going to do it first. Then I will take the blame for that. There was a little discussion of how we actually do it, but we got through it. Wasn't as bad as the top 100 movies controversy of
2021 probably.
I don't know. Anyway, so and I don't know what I was rereading an article, I saw a giant billboard for The Flash, which comes out as you're listening to this. It comes out today, the 16th. As we record this, is the 12th. And then I remember James Gunn, trusted authority on movies, I would say, right? We all love his work.
Yep.
He said, The Flash is one of the best superhero movies ever made. Now, I get that he's head of the studio, but, and I'm like, oh, really, James Gunn? I want to see The Flash, and we'll see. Where does it fit into the superhero movies? So we've done our superhero movie list in a couple different things, and every time we talk about a movie, we're like, what do you give it? It's 7, it's an 8, blah, blah, blah. We're doing the comprehensive superhero movie list, right? With our own individual rankings.
We are, and if we go fast, we'll get through all of them tonight. And if don't,
not.
It'll be followed up next week in the following episode.
So, and I think we're going to keep this list going, right? We'll keep.
Yes, we should. We should stick.
Yeah, we should.
It took long enough to boil down to this list.
Well, and
a lot of freaking superhero movies.
We'll talk about it when we get into it, but
yeah.
I did find my last list that I did, and I did revise some of the rankings. Some of them higher, some of them lower.
I did too. Anyway, we'll get to that. Let's go some random. Todd, what do you got?
Okay, so you might want to write this down. RSD 3PX5N7S. Anyone know what that is? So that is the password.
My Google password.
If you go to theinvasionhasbegun.com, and if you go there and you enter the password, there's a 5-minute clip from Secret Invasion.
I heard there was a 5-minute clip. I don't want to see it yet.
I don't think it's giving away anything we haven't really seen, but it's very cool. And
Well, that comes out the 21st?
21st. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And looks very Nick Fury centric, but there's a lot of other people in this, and I'm getting excited for this.
I think, yeah, I'm excited.
Samuel L. Jackson in one interview said basically you should think of this as a 6-hour movie, and I find that kind of interesting. But it's Kobe Smulders, Martin Freeman, Don Cheadle. I've heard Emilia Clarke gives a very nuanced performance,
as she usually does.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. I thought it was this week, but I
it's the 21st.
Double checked. It's not.
But check it out. It's kind of cool. I mean, there's just like a green blinking password screen that you have to enter the password in, and then you can watch it. And honestly, you Google "invasion has begun" password, you'll find it pretty easily. But it's pretty cool. I'm getting
it's going to be a good run. It maybe not as good as when we had Picard and Mando on at the same time, but having Secret Invasion and Star Trek Strange New Worlds on at the same time, that's two great shows.
That is going to be kind of cool.
And then go almost right into Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Not almost. Not almost. There'll be a little
gap.
Right.
But,
a little bit of a gap. Yeah, I mean, that was actually one of my just very quick randoms was they did announce the start date this past week. So August 23rd, Ahsoka premieres.
Yep. You got anything else you want to go since that was
so I had not heard about this at all, and I just caught something on this the other day. I guess there's a new Alien movie in development, and they don't know if this is the code name or the actual name, but they're calling it Alien Romulus. It's going to take place between the events of Alien and Aliens. It's being directed by a guy named Fede Alvarez, who directed The Evil Dead in 2013.
Wait, there was a picture from the set of that. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Well, that's what they're calling it. In the press, they said they don't know if that's the official name or if that's just
Did you
a
see
code
the picture?
name.
I thought they showed the slate from the picture.
Oh, I didn't see that. What I read in Hollywood Reporter is it said the previous movies all focused on adults in corporate, military, or scientific roles. This is the 9th Alien movie, believe it or not. They said this installment is going to focus on a group of young people on a distant colony that find themselves in a fight for their lives with the alien.
Okay, so you know what this is? This is The Thing, and then The Thing. Remember when they had the thing? The Thing
Yeah.
came out with the prequel to The Thing, and it was basically what happened immediately prior to that.
But this isn't on LV-426. So
you don't think this is? I mean, we know so little about this. You don't think this is going to end with Newt getting away and being the only one?
I bet you it's not. I think that they hired a guy that makes horror movies so that they can have like a slasher film, a teenage slasher film with an alien as the protagonist, or the antagonist rather.
That is a movie or movies that are so great, yet most of them are not good.
Well, and here's the part that I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it says just like that movie Prey, the Predator prequel that came out, this is also going to go straight to Hulu.
Ugh.
So that means they're not putting a ton of money into it either, which maybe that's a good thing. Prometheus and
I never saw that
Covenant.
Prey. Is it on something other than Hulu? I would like to see that.
I think it's only on
What
Hulu.
story is left to tell with Alien?
I don't know, but I don't need to know what happened between those two movies on LV.
No, I don't either. That's what I'm saying.
They've already without showing it to us, they've told us what happened. We know. I think
the only thing left to tell is when they get to Earth or when they get close to Earth.
The effort supposed to get a series about that. Did that get canceled?
That was actually my pitch for a TV series. But
they announced an Alien TV show that I think maybe was canceled before it got produced.
Isn't that on FX?
Yeah, they announced that was going to be the aliens on Earth.
Right. Yep. Yeah, my idea was like my idea was like they get to the Martian colony or the moon colony or something like that.
But, so maybe we'll still see that. I don't know. But I and again, you know how I love my director's cuts, but the director's cut of Aliens actually tells enough of that story that I don't need to, As far as
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
concerned,
it's
that
something
derelict
else.
ship was there, and they sent they put the colony on a 426, and they sent Newt's parents over there, and that's all
It'd
that
be
I need to
cool
know
to
about that.
see the derelict ship before it's the derelict ship with those giant people.
That was
Isn't
Prometheus.
I was just going to say,
was
we
it?
saw that movie.
That movie
Or
sucked,
Alien
though,
Covenant.
so
It was one of those two.
do it
Yeah.
well then. I don't
But
know.
they don't seem capable of doing it well. So
No,
just don't
just
do it.
leave. It's 2 movies. Let's
I
just be
wanted
happy.
that. I wanted the one that Sigourney Weaver wanted to make, and
Me
they
too.
never made.
Yeah,
So
she's done.
I feel like they're in Planet of the Apes territory now. It's just like, okay, we had the good story, which really is the first 2 films in this franchise, and now let's just milk it for what we can. And every few
Yeah, there's
years,
another one coming too.
But I'm talking about the original Planet of the Apes series, where it was just we got the masks, we all this stuff. Let's just do it again.
Yeah. What about the Ape City? We can't rebuild the Ape City. I just do it in downtown Los Angeles.
downtown Los Angeles? Yep, exactly.
Oh, I don't. Somebody mashes on the Fox lot. Okay, let's just do it. Let's bring them to 1974 Los Angeles. We'll do that.
Exactly, and we'll black out all the badges on the vehicles, and they'll look futuristic.
Yeah. Okay, so I know at one point we said, we're going to be talking about indie every time we do until we get to the thing. We're running out of time. We skipped 2 weeks, obviously, so we're running out of time. But at Hollywood Studios in Florida, there is an indie pop-up shop. I think I sent you guys pictures. You may have seen it also on Facebook and stuff. But they've set up a pop-up shop that has...
It's like a bar.
Has bar, and it has display of stuff. And it is called The Den of Destiny, and it's got props from the movie and some costumes. Whether they're original or not, we don't know. There's a hat and a whip. I don't know. There's drinks. There's 3 different themed drinks. They also have a bunch of stuff on display that I was like, what's all that stuff? Because I actually know someone who's going there. I'm like, you got to get me stuff. And I think it's all the stuff that's available online. It's like the idol, it's the voodoo doll, it's this crystal skull. So I don't know if there's other stuff, but it's in the Adventures Outpost where we all got our indie hats.
Yes,
in
that's
2004.
Cool.
Did you get an indie hat? I know we got.
I didn't get one, but I was with you guys.
Yeah, so we were at the Adventures Outpost
doing that,
together.
Barry, and you said, "Do you remember what you said?" I don't have a head for hats.
Yeah, I'm sure I
don't
say
either.
That.
That's why it's right there.
Yeah. I don't have a head for hats.
That was the night that our friend.
That reminds me. I got to tell you a London story about that hat.
Okay, that was the night that our friend Pat Kelly climbed over the fence and got into the indie tank that they had behind the fence.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. Somewhere I've got a picture of him in the sticking out of the inside of the tank.
Anyway, that's gonna be there through, they say, August, or they don't know an end date.
And they've got a Dial of Destiny on display there, but it's in a glass case, which makes me think it is not the real one. Like, it's probably a replica that they made to display.
And you can handle it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not behind a glass case, so it can't be the real deal.
But it's cool. I like seeing more indie stuff. I mean, the parks have been very short on indie stuff for a very long time.
Right. And as a sidebar, our friends over at Regal Robot previewed a picture today of what their next prop replica is going to be for indie. And it was the bottom piece of what looked like the Holy Grail. So,
well, they also sent a picture that was a guy with a tool belt leaning on a table saw, holding a cup of coffee, and you can see that, the cup of a carpenter. So
that's pretty funny.
Nice.
Obviously, so that's 6 tomorrow. I think
620 or 621. They said they're putting it up for sale.
620 is when it's for sale. Check out regalrobot.com. They're gonna have.
I'm sure they'll release full pictures and the price and everything in advance. So
so
that's
they're
something
I'm
very excited about.
A cup.
I have a replica cup, but not.
This will be this will be.
This is going to be the one to have. Yeah.
This will be the Holy Grail of Holy Grails.
Yeah,
yes.
I got the Urn of Nuhachi as when Tom was here. They sold out in like 10 minutes or something, an hour. I don't know. So they go quick. So, any other random? I'm going to random just sort of my things that pertain to our interests of my trip. So I was in Paris and London. And well, those of you who do know me, I've been to Paris and London before. I'm not a fan of Paris. So this time we're like, we wanted to go to London. So we're like, let's go to Paris. But the only place I'm going to in Paris is Paris Disneyland. And my wife wanted to see Versailles. So we're like, fine, we're not going into Paris itself at all. We're going to Paris Disneyland and Versailles, which is not an easy trip necessarily, but so we landed at 6 a.m. We flew out whenever Saturday, landed at 6 a.m. on Sunday, got to the so I'm like, if I'm going to Paris Disneyland, I'm just do it right and quick. And we stayed at the Art of Marvel Hotel, which is a hotel based on New York. Like, I got to go freaking Paris to stay a little bit. But anyway,
it's ironic.
Yeah. So we landed at 6 a.m. The plan was to go to the hotel, leave our bags because we couldn't check in, take a car to Versailles, see Versailles, come back. This is, mind you, an overnight flight. And I'm like, I don't sleep anywhere. I barely sleep in my bed. Although you guys have heard me snore. But so I'm like, I'm really, really trying to sleep on the plane. I didn't sleep on the plane at all. So I just don't. I remember I literally laid there saying, am I asleep? Am I asleep? For 2 hours. Didn't sleep. So anyway, got there at 6 a.m. We get to the hotel by like 9 o'clock. We didn't have the Versailles trip until noon. So we went into the Disney parks, because we got a 3-day ticket. That's what they sell you. It's a whole scam. So, and we only did a couple of things. And I won't dig it. So Paris Disneyland is very much like LA Disneyland.
It's smaller,
small. It's much
right?
smaller. Yeah,
right.
It's definitely small. The cool thing is, like, the hotel is a 5-minute walk and you're in the parks. That's how close this hotel was. This is the newest hotel. The rest of them are pretty close. So we went in and we did the Pirates of the Caribbean, and we did something else.
Is the Pirates Caribbean there essentially the same as the ones in Florida?
I think it's
California?
Better. It's got like an extra thing at the end, and it doesn't have that sort of really musty hallway you got to wind your way through.
Okay.
So I actually like that better, and I can't even remember what the other one was. We may have done the Haunted Mansion, which is called Phantom Manor there. And that, I think, was better, too. Okay. It was sort of same old school thing, but a little updated. Anyway, then we went to Versailles for like 8 hours, walked around there. I was up for 34 hours because you have to, first of all, you got to do stuff, and then you have to stay on that freaking time zone. So then the next day was all Disney. And, they have like a Disney Village that's like Disney Springs. That all leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, The restaurants weren't great. I'm very happy I went to Paris Disney to say I did it. I would not go back. It was nothing special about it, to be honest with you.
And there's nothing Marvel or Star Wars there.
No, right? There is. There is Avengers Campus.
Oh, they do have Avengers.
So Avengers Campus is in LA and or Anaheim and Paris. Avengers Campus was there's 2 rides there. It's cool because you see all the characters, and we saw Black Widow, and we saw Thor, and we saw in our hotel. We're walking through the hotel, and Star-Lord and Gamora just start doing a whole dance routine in the lobby of the hotel. So that was kind of cool. So you saw a lot of characters walk around. But there's 2 rides. One's an Avengers ride, and I didn't even realize until we're on it. It's repurposed Aerosmith roller coaster.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they totally redid the inside, but the ride is just the same thing with like movie screens with stuff. So that was okay. And then the newest ride in the park is this Spider-Man ride. That's similar to Toy Story, where you play games and you gather points, but you do it by like flipping your hands like this as you're shooting webs. Pretty cool technology, but that's the newest game. But then newest ride. But then everything else is like, all the roller coasters are older because by the end of the day, my neck is like, it's all whiplash. You go on a newer roller coaster like the Harry Potter ones or the Seven Dwarfs ones, and they're really smooth. These are all old. So, and then there's Star Tours, which was, pretty much the same. They changed Space Mountain to Hyperspace Mountain, which is literally the word hyper put on front of the Space Mountain.
They had that when we were in Disneyland a couple of years ago. They had turned their Space Mountain into Hyperspace Mountain, so I've seen that.
Is it like Star Wars themed?
Not really.
The one in Disney was.
It's a little. See now, what's the land that's in the like the Land of Tomorrow or whatever that's called, Tomorrowland, I guess. It was built to be sort of very Jules Verne when they built it 30 or 40 years ago. Nothing has changed. There's even the Hyperspace Mountain, everything looks very Jules Verne, except for a couple of Star Wars logos around. And they did have the Nautilus, which Brian had mentioned. So the Nautilus one of the Nautiluses from the old 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, you could not get into it. Though it was closed to go into. So I was able to see it. I was trying to think what else. There is an Indiana Jones roller coaster called the Temple of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril. It's a friggin' roller coaster.
That's not the ride that's in Disneyland. That's a different Indiana Jones ride.
Is there an Indiana Jones ride in Disneyland?
Yeah, there is in California.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't even remember that. But
which wasn't a roller coaster. It was more of a truck that had like a
that's better. That's better. This was just a theme, and then you get on a roller coaster and it's a roller coaster. So it was fine. So, but it was fun. I'm glad I did it. Again, there's nothing Florida just blows everything away. There's no doubt.
So did you get to Versailles?
We did get to Versailles. We did that Sunday. No one cares about that. So we did Versailles.
Had you been to Versailles?
I had not been to Versailles.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing. The gardens are pretty amazing. Yeah. It was a long trip to go to Versailles, but I didn't know that fits into the podcast. So that was sort of the compromise. Pam wanted to go to Versailles. Me and Mark wanted to go to Paris Disneyland. So we were there, Paris Disneyland for a day and a half, Versailles for a day, and then we went to London.
And what do you need? Two days max to see everything at Disneyland Paris?
Me or you? My family or your family?
My family.
3 days. No. 2 days, I'd say.
Nobody crushes a theme park like the Pisanis.
We've had many a family cry. We did. So it's a little weird. So you stay at the hotel and you're like 2 nights. Okay, 2 nights comes with 3-day tickets. Like, I don't want 3 days tickets. It comes with 3-day tickets. So fine. So we had 3 days, but I also, not knowing how crowded it was going to be, I added on. They have a fast pass option that's not like it is in Florida. It's literally go on the fast pass line for every ride once. Okay. So I added that in since we were going to be there in a day. We saw everything.
How crowded was it? How crowded would you?
It wasn't that crowded. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, not that we really waited, but the biggest wait I saw was maybe 60 minutes on a handful of things, 20, 25, 30 minutes on most stuff. And we went on pretty much everything.
Good. I'm glad you had a good
2
time.
Parks. Yeah, no, that was good. So I did get some gifts for me and you. So Todd, I got you a Indiana Jones and the Temple of Peril in French t-shirt.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I got myself one of those.
Thank you.
Now, Barry, there was nothing good Star Wars. Not only nothing good Star Wars, the couple of Star Wars things they had are these new things that are horrible. So I didn't get you anything Star Wars.
I got my fingers crossed that you got me something Willow.
There was nothing Willow. I did get you a Avengers campus hat in all black with black.
Ooh, I like that.
And on the back it says Adventure. It says Avengers Campus.
Sweet.
You can't
Thank
see
you
that.
very much.
I got you that.
It's stealthy. I like it.
It's stealthy. Yeah. I believe me. I was looking for Star Wars stuff for me and you. I didn't get myself a hat. I also got you what is this? A Paris Disneyland Star Toys medallion.
Oh,
Star
sweet.
Tours medallion. Because
Nice.
you like these things.
I do
It says
collect
Paris
those.
Disneyland on it.
Thank you.
Didn't get you one, Todd. I got something else for you. So anyway, then I'll just cut to the chase. And we went to London. We did a ton of stuff. We stayed across the street from Buckingham Palace, which is awesome. Did a bunch of normal London stuff. The cool thing is the train station there's multiple train stations in Paris. There is a train station right in Disneyland. We went right across the street from the hotel and took the train to London. So they designed it that way.
That's convenient. Yeah.
That's super convenient. So trying to think what pertains to us. I wrote something down. I said something about India. Oh, so Herbert Johnson hat makers. I'm like, I've been following them for a year. Like, oh, Herbert Johnson, the people who made the original Indiana Jones hats. They have a great website. They're making Indiana Jones hats again. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, gotta go to the store. I go to the store, and it's like a women's hat store that they just sort of work out of. I'm like, oh, can I see the Indiana Jones hats? They're like, well, there's only one. We're on hold. We're not making any, and we're not sizing anybody. So, and I had determined I probably wasn't going to buy one anyway because they're like $500, and I'm not going to wear it. But
hopefully it wasn't too far out of your way.
No. It was somewhere where we were anyway. There was a time like 6 months ago where like when I go back to London, I'm going to that hat store and I'm getting an Indiana Jones hat. Then I realized like, what do I need a $500 hat for that I'm not going to wear anyway? So anyway, other the stuff, the Harrods and shopping and blah, 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 blah. So one of the things I had seen about, there's this hotel and bar called Duke's Bar, right in our neighborhood where we were staying. Ian Fleming was a very frequent visitor of Duke's Bar and in fact wrote most of Casino Royale in Duke's Bar back in the 60s, I guess, right? 50s or 60s?
50s.
Probably would have been the 50s, yeah.
Yeah, they make crazy martinis, and in fact, they have a martini. So if you remember the new movie, or the book, there's a character called Vesper, and then James Bond makes a drink based on and names it Vesper. There was a martini called the Vesper at Duke's Bar. That's where he got the name of the character from. And that's where the whole shaken not stirred comes from, because they don't really shake martinis over ice. So we're like, let's go there. And then I've heard, there's a line and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's this tiny little bar, very English, very sort of upscale-y, nice. So the three of us got a table. Mark's of drinking age now, so it's okay. He's 21. And on the list, they're you figure, they're this sort of English bar. Are they gonna be a jerk because you're into James Bond? Everyone goes there because they're into James Bond. There are drinks on the menu named after James Bond. So there's martinis and then there's other drinks. I'm like, I don't drink martinis at all because it's just way too strong for me. But I'm like, you're here, you got to get a martini. So I got a Tiger Tanaka from my favorite movie,
Nice.
doing
Yes.
it twice,
That's awesome.
which was a martini with like a ginger liqueur in it. And Mark got an odd job that was something with saffron in it. And Pam got a room 39, which was maybe the room Ian Fleming stayed in the hotel. And the dude everything, there's no ice. Everything is in frozen bottles. The guy wheels a cart around and like when they had guacamole, makes the martini in front of you. And this guy's like pouring stuff and there's not a drip. This guy's been there like 25 years and there's not a drip anywhere. And he just makes it perfect. Mine was incredibly strong, but I could drink it. Pam's was like jet fuel. It was, and she does drink martinis. She's like, this is undrink. It was like the strongest drink. It was like gin and vodka and like some other shit. It was the strongest drink I ever tasted. But it was cool. So it was they're very, very subtly leaned in. There's a picture of Sean Connery and the bartender, Mark, was asking the martini master, like, how many James Bonds have you met? And he's met Pierce Brosnan and Sean Connery. Have been into the bar. So it was cool. It was a good place. So
that sounds like a fun time.
Not an expenditure, but I have a Duke's Bar London napkin for you.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool.
I was like, they don't sell T-shirts, do they? they don't.
That's the second place you and I have gone drinking where we've asked if they sold T-shirts, and they said no.
I know. I'm wondering if I think the Jock Lindsay is leaning in more into Indiana Jones now with the movie too.
They have to be,
from what I'm hearing. Yeah, I had seen something on that. Anyway, long story short, that was we did a bunch of stuff. Did the Imperial War? Have you been to the Imperial War Museum, Todd, in London?
I've been in London.
Oh, really? It's heavy duty. They just redid it.
Yep.
It's heavy. Really impressive though. Really well laid out though. So I'm trying to think where else we went. We went to a couple museums, bunch of shopping. We saw a play. We everyone's like, gotta go to the theater. Gotta go to the theater. If you go to London, theater's amazing. It's inexpensive. Here's the plays that are playing in London: The Lion King, Back to the Future, Wicked. I am not going to London to see American plays,
right?
Which is stupid. So about 30 years ago, a guy rebuilt the Globe, Shakespeare's Globe Theater, about quarter mile from where the Globe was, totally like it was, with a thatched roof and open air in the round. So we saw a Comedy of Errors at the Shakespeare Theater, which was
that's great.
The best. It was funny. It was great. So that was like, I'm like,
yeah, it sounds like the right choice.
Not going to see The Lion King in freaking theater anyway. So that was my trip. So I had a good time. There was no crying, minimal fighting, so that was good.
Well, you had way more fun on your excursion than I did.
Yeah, sorry.
I had no fun.
Okay, as you may hear, our vocals are a little better because we had a technical difficulty and we just switched microphones, so it sounds better, hopefully. So anyway, we're gonna go what's in the box, and then we'll get to our superhero things. So, I think Barry, why don't you go first? Todd, are we doing the same thing?
We're doing the same thing, I think.
Okay, Barry, what do you got?
Okay, so I have 9 things, but I'm going to go really fast. So one of the things we have often talked about is the idea of a finite collection and how it's so appealing because there's not a ton of things to get in that group of items. Dave, I've been now competing with you because I had absolutely none of the die-cast Star Wars vintage Star Wars vehicles.
Oh.
And I found a guy was selling a lot of them. And I bought them almost all of them in one shot. They're
really?
like
Good for you.
Pristine, perfect condition too. Like, so Millennium Falcon, there's like no chips or damage in any of these.
That's what started mine. I had that from when I was a kid.
Star Destroyer, it's got the little blockade runner in there. I've got the Slave One. I've got the Snow Speeder. The X-Wing, both the regular and Darth Vader's TIE Fighters, and a Land Speeder. I got all those from one guy in one price. It averaged out to a really good deal for all of them. So now I'm missing 3. I'm missing the Cloud Car, the Y-Wing, and the TIE Bomber.
The TIE Bomber, yeah.
Which, you know me, I will have to...
Am I missing those same 3?
I will have to complete the collection, so...
Barry, no 2 of those are the same scale.
No, absolutely
it's
not.
Just great. I mean, just how hard would it have been to make the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter the same scale?
Oh, yeah. They totally...
I have the Y-Wing, I guess.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, I'm only missing the TIE Bomber.
You have everything else, okay.
Yeah, I bought them all from that dude who we won't mention.
Yes, I think that's right.
Not giving him.
But yeah, there's 11 of them in the series. I got 9 of them in one shot.
That's awesome.
8 of them in one shot. So
that's nice. It's a nice finite collection. Yeah, I never.
Yeah,
really
and they're perfect. So I've been keeping my eyes open for a Cloud Car, which is like my least favorite Star Wars vehicle of all time. But amazingly, they are the most damaged of all of these. Like every single
people
one.
Like, why am I getting this? And they just throw it on the ground.
They're all chipped up and in
car.
terrible condition. So.
That's funny.
But yeah, so I got all of that in one lot, which was...
I haven't honestly looked for the TIE Bomber
Oh, I've been watching them. They range from $600 to $1,000. Oh yeah,
What? That's ridiculous.
yeah. That's the rare one.
I have half that into this collection.
Yeah, I have way less than half that into almost all of this.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Well, then you
we
did
should
very
have
well.
we should 3D print them.
We totally should.
Or
But in any
just
case-
buy the more recent die-cast version and crap it and paint it crappy.
Does
Yeah,
it look
but-
the same? Do they have one?
But you know me,
It's the twin bomber thing.
Yeah.
but I can't have all but one of these things,
No,
so I
no,
will
of course
eventually have to.
Well, let's 3D print them for now. I'll print them and you paint them.
Okay, done. Done and
I'm
done.
sure it's out there. Anyway, very cool.
All right, so you guys are going to do the same item?
Right. We're gonna do Jedi Luke and his pal Grogu. Oh, you have almost the same. I didn't know what I really wanted to put. So this is from The Mandalorian, Hot Toys from The Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker at the end of season 2 as he comes in.
This is, as I describe it, this is holy shit, Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
Yes. It's like,
I really wanted to do this dynamic Jedi pose, but it's just not that simple. And you would really need to take up the whole bay of your Deltoff.
yeah. Yep.
All right, so this is Mark Hamill de-aged version, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
They did it. I mean, again, I haven't seen a one before this, but the fabrics are so thin these days that, you know how even Hot Toys, some of the fabrics could be at a scale, but
They
everything
did a great
is,
job. There's wire everywhere
Yeah.
that there needs to be for bending. The cape, the hood has wire in it. The cape has wire in it.
Yeah,
Really, really nice job.
They really did a
It
nice
drapes
job.
really well. I will say one of the things that they have just figured out very recently is hair, and his hair looks great.
yeah,
I got another figure we'll talk about in a few weeks. Same thing, where it looks like, it looks so much more like hair than painted hair, because there's highlights and it without it looking like that way.
yeah.
It catches
yeah.
the light differently. You see each strand. It's really, really well done. If you can actually even see it picks up on the camera really well.
Yeah, it's got the multi-tone.
They've
The
got
head sculpt is really good.
It looks great.
I think it looks terrific. It's super. I mean, if again, you compare the Sideshow one that I have from a few years ago to this, and it's night and day, and really, really just a great job. Have you played with the eyeballs yet, Dave?
I have not. Do they move?
They do. There's moving eyeballs.
Do you have to take his hair off to do it or something?
You've got to take his hair off, and let me tell you, it's not necessarily easy to get back on.
His eyes look pretty good, so I'm not messing.
And so I'm actually thinking I've got another figure that I will display with him coming that has the same thing, and I think it'll look better doing the eyeballs on that one. So I'm going to do that. But super pleased with this. It's awesome. I think I may have reached my limit on Grogu figures. I think I'm now up to 4.
I have 4 also.
Okay,
You
good.
bought that 3-pack, didn't you?
Well, I had one that came with Mando.
Mando came with 2. Didn't he come with 2?
He did, and then I got the Grogu accessory pack, which had 2 Grogus in it.
Oh, okay. So you're okay. So I had 2 from Mando, 1 from Luke, and 1 from the Ahsoka figure, which I'll do in a couple weeks.
Yeah, because Mando came with the one in the pram, and then the one where he's standing.
Yeah. And I will
So
say,
in my case,
So
I
I
have
guess
2
I
different
have-
prams, 2 different ones sitting in prams. I have a loose one that's standing with Mando, and I have one that's in that box from the season 2 episode.
so
Yeah.
this one is the first one. I mean, the other ones didn't come with like accessory arms, right?
He just came with little claws.
yeah,
So this one has got changeable arms, at least. That's interesting, which makes me. So I was thinking about this the other day. Is he another figure or is he an accessory? Because he's got enough points of articulation to be an action figure, and now they're giving him interchangeable like
I
limbs.
think he counts as a figure.
I think he can. I think I got to because like the Guardians 2 figures almost all came with a baby Groot. Okay, but most of those at most had articulation. So I consider those an accessory. I think these are are a figure in their own right. So
Yeah.
um,
And I know we were texting. It did come with like the Death Destroyer droid guy, whatever that thing was called.
That looked like a pretty crappy accessory.
The idea of it sounded like, oh, that's cool. But the reality of it, there's nothing much. It's only half of it. And where do you put in that?
And
if
he's
you
on a
light it
black
up-
stand, right? So you can't even.
Clear stand.
clear.
Oh, it is a clear stand? Okay.
Yeah.
If you put the batteries in, it lights up. It looks.
Oh,
very
it
cool.
does. I didn't know.
Oh
that.
yeah, no, it looks excellent lit up. So I think he's going to go at one end of my case, and at the other end of my case is young Obi-Wan, or Clone Wars Obi-Wan with the hacked up droid. And so I think I'll have this on the ground at one end and the hacked up droid in the ground in the other. So it's kind of like symmetry. But because if you don't put it in a pedestal and you kind of lean it on its side like a dead Terminator, like the crawling Terminator, it still looks kind of cool. So because there is arm articulation on it. That's how I have it.
I didn't put the batteries in anything.
So, but
that
it
may
is
be
kind of
interesting.
cool. If I could get a battery eliminator for it, and it could be on just when I turn the case on, that would be kind of
That'd be cool.
So,
Oh, yeah, I'm
but,
sure you can do that.
yeah, and just a really great job with the figure. The packaging is insane with these things. I mean, the deluxe figures.
This are much more. Some are much more high. Well, is this a deluxe figure?
It is, yeah.
It is. Yep. The packaging is way over.
Yeah, the ones with the moving eyes are usually the deluxe ones.
Yeah, because it came with the thing, but the packaging is like die cut foam and an outer box and an inner box, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah, but
there's a lot going on. With
very happy with it though.
I don't have it. Do I have it? I don't think I have it yet. It looks so. It's cool to have.
And it really does. I mean, it really does take you back to that moment when you first see him, and you're just like, "Oh my god!"
If I didn't have the one from Return of the Jedi, I would have been all over that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And they did a nice job.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
cool. Okay, let's go.
And if you're wondering where we got these.
Oh, geez, we never did the commercial. Troy, I'm sorry. It's so late. I just was going on.
We're a little out of practice.
My own trip. But yeah, we did get them at Fanboy Collectibles. Of course we did. Lots of stuff. So if we may have some of these, but we're not going to talk about it right now. Well, Hot Toys Flash from the movie up for pre-order.
Looks amazing, but I have to wait till I see the movie first.
I'm scared because I think I may need it. But Ahsoka and Grogu is in stock, I believe. Scarlet Witch in stock. Then from the Flash movie, Batman and the Batcycle, Batman separate from the Batcycle, all those things. There's a lot of
another Batman.
Yeah. Other stuff. A 112 scale, not 112, Mezco 112 Michael Myers. Haven't seen that in a while. And I got to get this. I just saw a Walt Disney Pop. Now, Walt Disney can go with...
Oh, with our directors.
John Favreau and JJ.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Because
that is cool.
I just saw that. I got to get that.
Oh, we kind of
love Walt Disney.
And Sideshow Collectibles has gotten into the Iron Maiden business. So they've got a couple of Iron Maiden statues that look amazing.
Yeah.
Not sure I need them, but they look amazing.
They do look great. You can't go wrong with Eddie there. So check them out, fanboycollectibles.com. You had something else?
I was just going to say, and I did pre-order the Boss figure.
Oh, yeah. I figured that was you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was all me. So
I got a story about that guy, and I got to tell you about it after the show.
Okay.
I said that last time you mentioned
check that out.
Figure.
Kingpin from Hawkeye.
Yeah. So fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Check them out online. Tell them the regular Joe saying, sorry that we waited so long to do the commercial. I was wrapped up in my trip recap.
I had you covered, Troy.
You did. Todd had you covered. Okay.
All right, let's get into this.
Let's go. So if you remember us doing this several years ago and you're sick of it, feel free to go listen to the Smart List or something. But this is all about us. So, we keep on going through these superhero movies, like I said, and I always ask the question, what do you give it? I mean, we want context. It's a 7, it's a 10, it's a 3, it's a 1. And there has been the gamut of those, especially now, we're definitely, Marvel is not the can do no wrong that they probably were 5 years ago when we did this list.
They had
Maybe
an amazing run, but they're not. Yeah, they're not
Oh,
all.
I think
They're not all
think they
hits.
had a few stinkers, and I think they've had more. So
Yeah, I think so. But I think the good outweighed the bad, and I think there's the argument in that amongst
But
ourselves.
for this list, we're going back to 1978, right? We're starting in
we're
1978.
going
considering
back-
Superman the first legit big budget Superman film. And
So,
just to clarify this, there were some kind of B movie films that we did not include in this. There were some things that were comic bookish, but not actually inspired by comics. And then some other genres that were represented in comics, but weren't really superheroes. So for the most part, if you hear something like an example that came up with Conan was a pulp character that transitioned to comics, that transitioned to films. He's not a superhero.
So let me ask you this question, because I was trying to explain this concept to my wife.
Yep.
Would you consider this a list of comic book movies or superhero movies or
Superhero
both?
movies.
Superhero movies.
Okay.
I'd say
Basically
movies.
superhero universe movies. Okay. And
yeah, there, like Todd's saying, there may be some that as you're listening, say, wait a sec, you left out this. It's our list. Who cares what you think?
Yeah, but she was, because the first thing she said to me was like, she goes, "Oh, so Flash Gordon's on." I'm like, "No, Flash Gordon's not a superhero."
and
I said he was a New Jersey.
It's not even a
Jets.
comic book.
I said
So
he was a New
there
Jersey Jets
like I said,
football player that just got on a rocket. He doesn't have any powers.
fantasy, sci-fi stuff that came from comics or whatever, not necessarily in there. They have to be, and then of course there's also some. We talked about things that were superhero adjacent, but weren't really superheroes. And I think a couple of those crept in, but not many. But then there are a few that are clearly villains or, again, superhero adjacent. But
again, it's an interpretive. Even the list took a lot of discussion to even come up with the list before the rankings. Had a lot of discussion.
And I was just pushing you guys to get a final list so that I could have the weekend to actually do the ranking, because
I will say, in the end, through all the negotiation, this really is very much Marvel DC with one other exception that I wouldn't let go of. So
it's our list. So too bad if you got a problem with it. Feel free to text us.
If your favorite movie's missing from this list, let us know what it is, and we'll tell you what we think of it.
We'll tell you.
Yeah,
not a problem. What else was I going to say?
And for tonight, we're going to tackle part one.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I think I thought this was going to take forever to do, but I really had a big. The having the list from a few years ago really helped me out. It didn't take me nearly as long as I thought.
Okay,
but maybe not. Okay. Instead of like doing this, like Todd says one, Dave said, does someone want, Todd, you want to just read the list?
I'm fine reading them.
It's let's not go on ceremony.
No, we don't have to. Okay. So anyways, we start the list with 1978 Superman.
Okay. We can go. And
just go.
Again,
just
it's all interpretive. What?
Shout it out. Just start.
7.5.
Solid 8.
And I gave it an 8.
Okay. And I am going, there's a lot of ways to do it. In its day, it was a 10 because it was nothing ever like it. But for it to be 7.5, 8 in this day and age, it says a lot for it. It's
and
groundbreaking.
For me, there's a lot of factors. I think nostalgia for a lot of these older ones has a lot to do with it. I can think about how much I liked it at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I haven't revisited a lot of these movies.
I'm not dialing
20
things
years,
down
30 years.
for what they didn't do. I'm trying to look at things objectively for their time, and I think of what they could have done with it. And I think this is the first straight up, very literal interpretation of a superhero film.
Yeah, it holds up very well.
There's nothing in this changed from the mythology of Superman. We got the a little different view of Krypton, but other than that, this is straight up Superman. So
and
I
think
solid done
numbers.
pretty well. So
the next 10 are going to be Superman.
Yeah, pretty much. We're going to go fast though. In 1980, Superman 2.
6.5.
I gave it a 7.
I gave it an 8 also.
Did you really?
I did. Superman
I
2
didn't love
is
it as much.
probably a better film. So,
Really? I haven't
Yep.
seen it in 25 years.
yeah, it's probably a better film, but I would never give a sequel more, or almost never do unless it's then in 83 we get Superman 3.
Is that the one with Richard Pryor?
Yes, I had to go back and watch a few trailers to refresh my memory on some of these
All I remember
crappy
is Richard.
movies that I haven't seen in 30
Yeah,
years.
I
that's
almost
with
could
Richard
leave this
Pryor.
off because I've seen it once.
Yeah.
Well, I give it a 3.
Okay.
Oof, I give it a 5 because
I gave it a 4, and there's a reason for that. Okay. In 1984 we get Supergirl.
Which I abstain because I've never seen it.
I've seen it once. I gave it a 6.
I watched the trailer.
I gave it a 5. It was very low budget. It was yeah. Anyways,
I watched the trailer over the weekend. I can't believe the cast in that movie.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
a great cast in that
It's
movie.
well,
was in
that's
it.
what I'm saying. It's a
Maybe
great
I
Faye
never saw it.
Dunaway's in that movie.
They
Who?
just did nothing
Faye
with
Dunaway.
them. They did nothing with them. So it's a disappointment, but hey, it is the first female-led superhero film.
I could
Okay,
abstain from that. Didn't we meet Helen Slater somewhere?
I feel like we probably did.
I think
She's not the crazy. She's not the crazy. No,
No.
she's not the
no,
crazy
no.
Republican nut. That's
No,
Christy
no.
Swanson.
So,
Yeah.
moving on because I'm doing what you said. 1987, Superman 4. Okay,
That's the quest for
Quest
peace,
for
right?
Peace, I give that
Yeah.
a 2.
I gave that a 4. I barely remember it.
I gave that a 2, and that's why Superman 3 was elevated to a 4
Oh.
because it was actually that much worse.
Yes.
And I could not have them. Yeah. So
And like I said, I needed to watch the trailers.
Was improved by Superman 4.
I remember
because it was
him
that bad.
flying around with the top of the White House.
Oh, it
and
was just horrible.
he gathered up all the nuclear bombs and was disposing of
That's
them.
all I remember. It
But
was just really bad.
I needed to watch the trailers of both of those so that I could remember which one was which. And once I
Yeah.
straightened
I
my head
remember
out,
Richard Pryor and I remember Evil Superman. That's how I remember it.
Yeah. So, 1989, Batman.
Well,
let's hear it,
Barry,
Dave.
go ahead.
I'll go.
Yeah.
I give it an 8.
Okay, I went 8.5.
oh,
Dave.
I gave it a 7, and that's high
That,
for me.
ooh,
That
that's
is high
a
for you.
number.
And that's probably higher than I may have given it in the past, but I've got a lot of problems with it. But I do, especially, I guess I'm liking the Keaton, the Batman parts, hated the Joker parts.
Yeah. It's again, inevitably, it's what happens when you throw an actor like Michael Keaton up against an actor like Jack Nicholson. At the end of the day, when you're editing, you're gonna have a Jack Nicholson.
Yeah,
movie.
and I think that's a mistake. But
And I agree. It was a casting mistake.
Great soundtrack. One of the best soundtracks in a
Great
superhero
soundtrack.
movie ever.
we're going to get to the movie of this that has one of the greatest soundtracks ever. And it's
Anthony
not
First
Danny Elfman.
designs of the Batmobile, the Batwing, the buildings, everything.
I'm not talking
Amazing.
about the Danny Elfman
The
music. I'm talking about
Prince
the Prince
song.
music.
Ugh.
Absolutely, utterly amazing. And
You know,
Prince-
it's funny.
The
Howard
Prince
Stern,
album is amazing. That soundtrack
Howard
album.
Stern asked somebody who did he ask? Did he ask? It was either Ben Affleck. He's like, that's and Ben Affleck's like, no, it's not.
And this, ladies
Anyway.
and gentlemen, is why we are not going to get through this list tonight. Okay.
That's fine.
1991, The Rocketeer.
to 9.
Oh, is it really? I gotta say, I don't love it as much as you. Not because I've seen it. I haven't seen it in 20 years, so I'll even abstain from that. I gave it
Okay.
7.5.
What,
I don't really know.
I gave it an 8.5, and I thought you guys were going to beat me up. Okay.
No, it's good. I honestly don't.
But again,
remember.
for me, this I went very much from a point of sentimentality on this. I love that movie. It doesn't matter that it's not.
It's great, and it's everything it has to be. And I'm sorry if that wasn't made then, and you made The Rocketeer right now, you should make that movie with better visuals and whatnot. But that is the story, and it was terrific. 1992, Batman Returns.
6.5.
I also gave it an 8, equal to the first 89 Batman.
Okay. I didn't bring it up as high. I put it 7.5. But I still like that movie a lot.
I love that. And the Penguin creeps me out with his black teeth.
There's some creepy shit in that movie. I will say that, but it's
got a lot going on.
It's the last good Batman movie for a long time.
Yeah, and it's creepy because Tim Burton made creepy shit back then.
Yeah, but it also
not bad shit.
It has the same problem that some of the Schumacher ones have, that they just tried to jam too much into it, I think.
Yep. So going up to 1995, Batman Forever.
I gave it a 5.
I gave it a 6. I think that's the worst of all of them.
Oh no.
No,
not
it
by
is not.
I don't.
I actually gave that a 6.5 because honestly, if you swapped Michael Keaton into that movie, it could have been salvageable.
Val Kilmer was no Bruce Wayne.
He was not Bruce Wayne.
There's also supposedly a cut of that movie that is supposed to be much better.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anyways,
no. Just I've never seen it. It's never been released. But supposedly there is a
right. And again, it's as in the case of Superman 3 and Superman 4. Okay, I think I rate Batman Forever higher because in 1997 we were victimized by Batman and Robin, which was so abysmal. Okay,
I want to hear what you gave that before I give my rating.
It brings up the level.
I don't know if
Batman
I buy
Forever.
that. I think you got to look at it at the right context. I think if you lean into the camp of it, and I'm not saying it was good, it was the campiest of all those. It had, so much goofiness in it. It almost had a little touch of 66 in it. I'm not saying it's good. I gave it a 6.5. And
it definitely had a touch of 6. This was what Joel Schumacher was thinking of when he thought Batman, and he thought that's what he was making. Was this a Batman movie?
A campy right down to Batman, so it wasn't good.
Metal Batman. Look, metal with holes in it.
See, now I don't buy into the fact that I rate the previous movie higher because this one was bad. I'm taking each one on its own merit.
No, but what I'm saying is I can't rate the other one low. Close to this. I put a 4 on this.
Wow, you're gonna be shocked by what I.
And I think I was generous because it was hovering like a 3 for a while.
I like it.
You were generous. I gave it a 1.5.
Did you really?
Oof,
okay.
Yes.
Bear, I respect that.
George Clooney was good.
George Clooney was not good. Nobody in that movie was good.
I just think the campiness. You have Mr. Freeze. You got
Listen, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I love Uma Thurman. Not in that movie.
Which one was Jim Carrey in?
Jim Carrey was in Batman Forever.
That's the worst one to me. That's definitely.
And I actually,
in fact,
I like Jim Carrey in that role.
I'm amending I'm going down to it. I'm going down to a 3. I won't do this again, but I'm going down.
I disagree.
Yeah,
it's the best Batman of all of them. No. I don't hate it as much because it just can't be badness. But the Batman Forever was the worst one to me.
Okay,
I love campy Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I love all the movies where he does one-liners. It so didn't work in this movie.
Oh God, it so didn't work.
Yeah,
I was embarrassed for him. I was embarrassed for everyone in this film, basically. Blade, Dave.
I gave it a 7, and I feel like it could be higher for its time, but I gave it a 7. I thoroughly enjoy that one.
I've never seen it, so I
have never seen it. I don't think it belongs on the list. Okay.
Hey, whoa. It's a comic book movie.
Yeah, so is Conan.
Okay, I always thought of it as a vampire movie, and I just wasn't into it.
It is a
then
movie
why
about
did
a
you take
vampire
it
hunter.
off the list?
Because you used it as an example.
Oh,
you like it.
And I know you like it, but no.
What do you think of it? I think it's actually pretty good.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it, so
but I know the character in the comics.
The character.
And it's about movies, but I'm saying he's not a superhero, and it's just it's to me, like I said when we were texting.
He's going to be in the new MCU.
That's fine, and then he might be something different. But in his comic book incarnation and his film incarnation, from what I've seen, he's more akin to like the Punisher or Ghost Rider than an actual superhero.
So do yourselves a favor, and then we'll probably go.
Oh, I actually was thinking about actually watching.
It's worth watching the first one.
It is. I just think it's a different kind of thing.
Okay.
Then in 2000, a seismic shift, I believe. X-Men.
I give it an 8. I give it an 8 as well.
I do too. All three of us gave it an 8.
Yeah. It's solid.
I think
it's very solid for its time.
I think the game changed right there.
5 years ago was probably a 9, but it's an 8.
Okay.
Well, obviously you don't care about Blade 2
I
either.
don't care about Blade
Never
2,
saw
but
it.
They've thrown
Blade 2 is the worst of the three, so
Okay,
doesn't
good.
matter. Just
We'll
so you
keep that
know,
in
don't
mind.
need to watch it.
Okay. Then 2002, Spider-Man, the original.
I gave that an 8 also.
So did I.
I gave it an 8.5.
Yeah, no, I could see that. It was ground. It was at its time. It was like
In the same way that X-Men was groundbreaking, Spider-Man was groundbreaking.
absolutely.
And yet did not copy X-Men in one
That's right.
in any way whatsoever.
The tone was right. The
Exactly.
technology had gotten to
Yep.
the point where they could do it, and it looked believable.
And
It was
probably the best superhero costume design in the history
Yeah.
of comics, translated perfectly, absolutely perfectly. So a bad costume in that would have killed that. Okay, 2000. Speaking of killing it, 2003 we have Daredevil.
It's a 9. I know you hate it. I don't. It's not good at all. I gave it a 4, and it's not great. It does have one of the best movie soundtracks ever.
Okay,
Of like those early 2000s.
That's got the Evanescence song in it, right?
Evanescence song. Yeah. It's got a lot of. It's got what's his face? Who's that guy? Rob Zombie. It's got really. I love that sound. I still listen to it.
I give it a 5, believe it or not.
Did you?
And that's that number that I look at. And now here's the thing: I have not rewatched it since I saw it, other than bits and pieces when it's been on TV.
so Barry, you'll appreciate this. I watched the director's cut.
I
I
own
did.
the director's cut.
I
and the regular
subjected
one.
myself to that.
I don't think it's any different.
It wasn't any better.
It's no different.
It wasn't any better.
Not
What do
every
you give it,
director's
Todd? I
cut
know
is
you
better.
hate it.
I gave it a 4 also.
Okay, if you gave it a 5 and you gave it a 4, I should probably give it a 5.5 because I don't. It's not good at all, but I don't hate it the way I know Todd does.
Having Jennifer Garner in it, who I know we all love, doesn't save
God.
it.
It was
in
good
any
for a
way.
point.
It did,
Seriously,
yeah.
it was good for a point.
It did save it.
Okay.
It did.
and
It helped it a lot.
But also not Elektra. She was no more Elektra than he was Daredevil, and it resulted in a terrible decision on Jennifer's part that haunts her to this day.
We'll get
So-
there. Well, getting married. I thought doing that next movie.
2003, the original Hulk film.
Now, my number, and looking at this other stuff, it's probably not fair, but I don't care. I gave it a 1. I hate it. It's so boring. It is so not, especially in its comparison to Spider-Man and X-Men. I hate that movie.
Yeah, I gave it a 3.5.
And I gave it a 1 also.
Did you really?
I think out of all these movies, it's the one that plays into the comic booky thing the most, where they do like panels of comics with like.
But it's so boring. It's not even funny.
And the
I'll tell you,
visuals just don't.
This,
I mean, even in
I
its
might
day,
have
the
rated
visuals
it.
didn't
I
work.
might have rated it better than the two of you because I will never see that film again.
No,
And honestly, I have a hard time. I have a hard time remembering it. I just remember he just looked very sweaty. You know, Hulk looked very sweaty all the time, and
my two favorite comic books growing up were Spider-Man and Daredevil. So after Spider-Man and Hulk, and after Spider-Man, I'm like, oh my god, they're doing the Hulk. The anticipation and the letdown of that is why it gets a 1.
Yep.
And there needs to be a worst movie on this list. So
Yeah,
There's probably worse, but
yeah. Still, Superman 4 is my low point. 2003, X2, X-Men United.
I like that one. I give that one an 8.
I gave it a 7. I don't, and that's because I like the first one better.
I gave it an 8. I think it was as good as the first one, and I think it built on the first one really, really well, without being heavily dependent on it. Yeah. Have you gone back and seen that recently?
I have not.
Within the last 10 years, yes, but not.
Yeah.
But
no,
not
I think
very
it
recently.
might be better. Than you remember.
Maybe I don't remember it, but it was still good.
Didn't we do a thing where we rewatched all the X-Men movies?
No, we did not. We talked about it, though. We saw that together.
No, we did something. We did a series
saw
called
X2.
X Memories.
Dave, you and I saw
did.
X2. At least
We
you and
did.
I saw X2 with Anthony somewhere. I'm almost positive of that.
Pretty sure we
we
rewatched
saw,
all the X-Men.
Oh, we did. We did.
Yeah.
At the end is the Dark Phoenix thing.
Yep.
We saw it in down in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
We did see that.
Okay.
That's
So,
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So next 2004, Dave, Blade Trinity.
That's a 10. That is a 10. No.
Also
That
didn't
is
see that one.
that is pretty good too. It's better. It's got Ryan Reynolds and it's got Jessica Biel in this little skimpy outfit. So can't go wrong with that.
2004, Catwoman.
That is my other number one.
I never saw it. I
It's
knew it was. Everybody said how bad it was. I never watched
horrible. It's probably the worst movie on this list. It could be worse than the Hulk, but I gave them both a 1.
Wow. Okay. I was generous with 2.5 because the other day you were saying at least Halle Berry runs around in a skimpy outfit.
I've always had it on my
up
list
for me.
as a 1. I've only seen it
You
once.
talked it up for me.
I seen it once many years after it came out on cable or whatever. It's horrible.
Oh, it's utterly horrible.
It's
It's
not
got
even
nothing to do with the character. It's basically like, here's a name we have a license to.
the story is convoluted. I don't remember. The Hulk storyline is pretty straightforward. It's just incredibly boring.
They wanted to
This
make a
doesn't even
Michelle
make sense.
Pfeiffer Catwoman movie, and she said, no way, no how. And it moved from desk to desk to desk, and then somebody pitched it, and it was
And
just,
she had a whip and these. It was so stupid.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Moving on, 2004, Spider-Man 2.
What did I give Spider-Man? I gave Spider-Man an 8. I gave Spider-Man a 6.2, a 6.5. That may be too low.
I gave
it
it an 8 again as well.
I think I may.
I think 1 and 2 are both solid movies.
I think that is like in terms of
right now.
superhero films, I think that and X2 are the perfect follow-ups films, because I think they're everybody as good as the original film, but they go different directions and they make it's not just a do-over.
I gave it a 7. I changed it to a 7.5. I don't think I like it as much as the first one, but it is solid.
Okay. So back to Batman, 2005, Batman Begins.
8.5.
8.5.
9.
That is, I definitely think of that to me is sort of the next bar. You had X-Men, you had Spider-Man, and then that's the next bar.
And this redefined what the character could be. And to just think for a second that this is only 8 years after Batman and Robin. Okay. And to do what they did and basically, and this is also my kind of Batman. I love everything about it. I think it's great. So
yeah, that's definitely in like the top 10 of these movies for me.
Yep. And then follow up same year, another superb film, 2005, Elektra.
Now take Jennifer Garner out of that, and it's a 0. It gets 2 points just because it's Jennifer Garner. It is horrendous. It doesn't even make sense.
I have a feeling I probably rated this higher than you guys did. Go ahead.
I gave it a 2.
I gave it a 2.
You guys are vicious. I gave it a 3.5 just because of my Jennifer Garner love. So
it's a 2. She got 2 points for her.
Yeah.
It's worse than Catwoman or as bad.
Oh, I don't think it's as bad.
I don't know. It doesn't even, you don't even understand it, but she is, whatever.
Enough said.
Enough said.
It's a 2.
Also from 2005, Fantastic Four. This is the first released swing at Fantastic Four. There was a Corman film years earlier. This was released in theaters. This was swinging for the fences.
This was Chris Evans' first superhero movie.
That's right. This is
Johnny Storm. I gave this a 4.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you why.
I gave it a 3, but go ahead.
I didn't read a ton of comics as a kid, but I used to love the Fantastic Four, and I was really excited for this movie, and I was so let down by it that I can't
4 is a lot for it.
Well, I guess, but I mean, it hit some of the right notes, but in general, it was a big disaster. So,
Todd, what'd you give it?
I gave it a 5.
Really?
Yeah, I was disappointed with it, but I was never a big Fantastic Four.
Besides, but just in a world where X-Men.
Oh yeah. I know.
Spider-Man.
But
just aside from the character, and even just seems so low budget and so like hokey compared to a Batman Begins. It's just, but it is night and day. It doesn't even belong.
The low budgetness of it, but the script wasn't good either.
It wasn't,
but very low budget, very hokey. The Thing was just awful.
Yep.
Awful.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I will say, anything that's less than a 5, I'm never going to see again, and I probably have never watched more than once. So I may be generous on my lower ones. Okay, from 2006, Superman Returns.
I give it a 4.5.
That's exactly what I gave it, 4.5.
It's just doesn't need to exist.
It kind of doesn't need to exist. I gave it a 5.5, and I did that because it was appropriately deferential to the other Superman film. I mean, his Clark Kent was Christopher Reeve's Clark Kent, and
it was supposed to be.
I know, but
it's
I'm
a
saying
little convoluted, though.
No, but I'm saying still, it was. In some ways, it was a tribute, and they could have just tried to leave it in the dust the way other films have done. And again, it's.
But that's the thing, and that's actually why I took points away from it. If you're going to say Superman 3 and 4 never happened, this picks up after Superman 2, then don't change other aspects. Like,
it kind of, yeah. It was a rock and a hard place, and I actually think he did a reasonable job.
He did a good job in that movie. I will give you that.
It's just not a good movie.
Yeah. So, okay. 2006, X-Men: The Last Stand.
Todd, I want to hear your number.
Yeah.
I gave it a 2.5.
Okay, I gave it a 1.5. It's besides the fact that Brett Ratner, although he follows the podcast, he's on the list for a couple. He's on the list partially for this movie and partially for allegedly being abusive to women. Allegedly. This is a travesty. This in the world of X-Men, it was just rewriting things, just killing off major characters, and they've obviously ignored it. It's horrible.
It's interesting. I'm right in between your two scores. I'm at a solid 2.
Yeah,
it's just awful.
Yeah,
honestly. And even if you look at, I'm looking at my low numbers like the Electras and it could even be a 0.5 because. Not only is it not good, it just does damage to the franchise. It also
squandered a ton of resources. I mean, This was not a small budget film, and this was probably the best X-Men story of that decade, the decade it came from, and they just shit all over it.
But what's really pathetic is it is a great story, great source material, and they've tried to tell this story in movies twice and blew it both times.
And how do you do that? How do you screw it up twice?
Yeah.
It's awful.
Okay.
It's really
all right. Another great movie coming up next.
Renner is a piece
2007, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, starring one of Barry's personal friends.
Yeah, my buddy Doug Jones. He recently hugged me.
Yep.
Doesn't change the fact that I gave it a 2.5.
I gave it a 2.5. It's awful.
I am unable to rate this because I didn't finish it. It is very rare that I don't finish a film, and it was like
you'll sit through the worst piece of shit ever just to get to the end of it.
Seriously, I was like, I'm an incredible completist, and I'm like, this isn't worth another hour of my life.
It's as bad as Fantastic Four was. It is that much worse.
It's worse. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. 2007. Continuing a downward trend, Spider-Man 3.
I gave it a 2.
Oh,
I didn't go that bad.
You know why? Because this is one of the principles of our show. Spider-Man 1 and 2 were so good and this just did so much damage,
Okay.
to them. It was horrible. It did everything wrong. Too many characters. You changed the main character. He's breakdancing or whatever the fuck he's doing. It was awful. Awful.
Barry?
I gave it a 4.
I gave it a 3.5.
Yeah, that's all. That's all.
I feel like this has some merit
It has moments.
because there's a few things in there that were good. It just needed to be less. They just threw too many things in there. And I actually like I feel like some of the things in this movie were redeemed by the recent Spider-Man film, like Sandman and stuff like that. It's like, but it is
They
a
ruined
template.
that. They made that
It is a
character an
template for
idiot.
what not to do in a second sequel. It really is.
Yep.
The dance sequence honestly killed the whole movie for me.
Yep. Yeah. Totally agree.
Okay. 2008, The Dark Knight.
I'm going to probably be a little bit lower on this than the two of you, but I gave it an 8. I know everybody loves this movie, and I really do like it, but I don't think it's the greatest superhero movie that's ever been.
I gave it an 8 as well. I think if in a world where there's just that and Batman Begins, I like Batman Begins a little better.
If I could have, if we could go in between 0.5s, I would have gone. I would have gone a quarter point lower. I gave it a 9 also. I would have gone a quarter point lower than Batman Begins.
And there's a lot going on in that movie.
A lot going on in that movie, but it's there's some amazing shit in that movie.
I'm not saying in a bad way.
I will say this:
there's a lot of good stuff.
8's a great score.
It's you had another utterly scene-stealing Joker, but they managed it much better.
Much better.
Okay, and so they took what they had done with the Joker originally, and they said, okay, obviously we can't have, but it is just an incredible. I mean, honestly, no one should probably ever play the Joker for a long time, but it was incredible.
Jared Leto didn't do it for you?
No, he did not, and it was fantastic, and yeah, it's just a moment in time. So, love the film. That's all. Okay.
We stop there.
And this is where we'll leave you hanging until next time.
It's a lot, but we have a lot more to go.
So now we stand at the precipice of the MCU, the giant shadow which looms over superhero films and defines everything that will follow. Because it's a lot of what
there is a lot on here.
So I was just about to say we just made it through 29.
I was going to say
films.
let's keep going.
We have
but
60 more to go.
Oh my god!
So I'm wondering if we don't break this up into 3 parts because
I actually think the others are going to go quick.
Nothing ever goes quick with us.
Nothing ever.
I know, but I'm saying I think the others are going to go quicker because we've seen them more recently, and we've
we'll just have to make them go quick.
We've done shows on most.
We'll see how it goes next week, but we'll try to power through all of it.
Yeah. So next week we don't know. I mean, the whole reason we're going to see where Flash fits into this, but you guys don't know if you're going to see Flash.
I'm going to try to.
I have house guests coming, and I don't know if I'll be able to get away, but I will try.
I'm seeing it, so we'll play it by ear. So.
I need to find a way. So
I should just put my foot down and say that this is what I want to do for Father's Day. Except we're having people here, so don't think that's going to happen.
People lead to no good.
Yeah,
go Saturday.
Maybe
Friday. It opens Thursday.
I know. I'll see what I can do.
Anyway, okay, so that's it. More of this next week. Let us know if there's anything you disagree with. So I think we're going to come up with some learnings at the end of this, and maybe there's some, so far my thing is I do think you guys should see Blade. Not that it's the greatest thing ever, but you may think it's worse than what you think it is. That's
I don't think it's worse than what I will say again. I've read the character in comics. It's nothing that appealed to me, and you like vampires better than the rest of us. So
I don't even like vampires. I like Keith Beckinsale vampires.
He usually likes teenage vampires, but
no.
Okay, but so that's just
Keith
it.
Beckinsale vampire.
Underworld is based on a comic. I would never think of putting it on this list.
Yeah. Well, Blade is because it's a Marvel comic and it's going to be in the MCU.
Yeah. Well, going to
Right.
be, but it's like yeah. So
Anyway,
Um,
all right. We'll figure that out.
yeah,
Again, there's no rules. We do whatever we want. Screw everybody.
exactly. So,
Yeah, last time I checked, it was our podcast. We can do whatever we want.
You got a problem with that? And when someone starts paying us for it, we'll put out their ideas unless they're stupid. Okay. So next week we'll do more of this. We'll probably do something else. We'll be here for a while. We're not gonna, I don't think we're taking any breaks anytime soon again, but you never know. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
thanks for listening.